there's this big debate over what's happening with the BICAM, the budget, the blanks in the budget, and all that. So many people have weighed in. Stella Kimbo has her side, Tito Soto has his side, sino pa ka po? Si Ping Lacson also weighed in. Kayo po, as former Senate President, also as former Secretary, ano ba? Pwede ho bang ang BICAM report may blanco, nakikila pa na lang ng technical staff? And hanggang saan pwede ang blanco? Kasi I suppose by the time na mag-ratify, dapat wala na blanco yan.
Fill in the blanks.
Alam mo, hindi ko alam kung ano nangyari sa BICAM. Ngunit, on the legal principles, wala pong magawa. Tama po yung ginawa ng Presidente. Ang pinirmahan niya, yung printed enrolled copy. At yan po ang controlling. Hindi yung BICAM report na mayroong mga blanco. Dahil sa, hindi ko alam kung ano nangyari, pero siguro nag-usap sila ulit at ng technical staff at kung ano man yung mga ina-adjust doon ginawa at niratify ito, pinirmahan ng Senate President at ng Speaker of the House. Yung kanilang pirma po ay nag-certify that the process in Congress was followed in preparing the General Appropriations Act. Ulitin ko lang po, may certification po ang Pangulo ng Senado at ang Speaker of the House nung tinransmit yung enrolled copy na ang proseso sa ating saligang batas doon sa pagpasa ng isang panukalang batas kagaya ng General Appropriations Act ay sinunod. Kaya po ito ay binding po on everyone. Hindi po pwedeng silipin ng Presidente at sabihin, yung inyong BICAM report may pagkukulang, mayroong blanco. Hindi po obre yun. Alam mo, si Sid Ungab is a good, I think he's an accountant, no? And ako po'y nakatrabaho ko si Sid Ungab. Talaga pong nakakaintindihan. Siguro hindi lang masyadong naintindihan ng amo niya dahil nung hindi naman tinitingnan ng mga budget na yan. Ngunit sa akin po, mahirapan po na baliktarin ang nangyari at mahirapan na ibaliktarin ng Supreme Court ang proseso. At sa akin po, yung General Appropriations Act ay valid at hindi po maging dahilan ng pagbaliwala ng GAA, dahilan po doon sa sinasabing may mga blanco sa pinirmahan na bicameral committee report.
So, Senator, Senate President, itong isasampang kaso o nasampa na ni Vic Rodriguez at saka ni Ungab sa Supreme Court, no? Batay dito sa alleged blank statements na ito, blank bahagi ng GAA, ay walang future, walang kinabukasan, ayon sa inyo.
Yes, in my professional judgment, bilang abogado po at 24 na taon tumingin ng ating General Appropriations Act, walang basihan po ang unfortunately ginagawang politika ng mga grupo ni Duterte, ginagawang politika at pinapaniwawala ang taong bayan na mali ito, na invalid. Sa akin po, wala pong basihan ang mga sinasabi nila at yan po ay masusustain ng Supreme Court.
Pero Senate President?
Ang pagkakaintindi ko, hindi lang yung blank, hindi lang yung blank items ang kine-question eh. Kine-question din nila yung pagtanggal yung mas mataas ang binigay na amount sa DPWH kaysa sa the entire sector of the education, which is against the Constitution. Sinama nila yun dun sa petition nila, dun sa area na yon, sa tingin nyo, yung argument na yon against the GAA.
There is a justiciable controversy, ika nga amin. Talaga pong kailangan tingnan yun kung talaga bang mas mataas o mas mababa ang allocation for education. At yan po pwede magbasihan na magiging unconstitutional yung General Appropriations Act. Kung base doon sa mas mababa ang allocation for the education sector. Ngunit hindi po dahilan sa may blanco na Bicameral Conference Committee report.
In your
Senate
experience,
President,
yung yung compliance with the Constitution, yung bang education ang kinocompute yung the entire education sector?
Is it the sector,
Saka
sir, or
ano
the department?
yung definition ng education sector? Kasi kine-question din dahil sinama pati yung PMA, yung PNPA. Kasama ba yun sa education sector?
Dati po hindi kasama yan. Ang talagang traditionally, ang sinasama sa education sector, yung DepEd budget, yung SUC's budget, yung pong
Yes.
test budget, at saka yung tawag nito, yung CHED. Yan lang po
CHED.
traditionally ang kinukonsider na education sector. Yan po ang aming tinitingnan nung nandun ako sa Senado. Kaya po ito isang issue na kailangan ang basbas ng Korte Suprema, ngunit sa akin po mali yung ginawa. Hindi po nakapag-compute. Ngunit kung yan po ay sinasama nila pati Philippine Military Academy, yung local government training unit,
Yes.
hindi po dapat yan dahil sa pinag-uusapan ng education, ang konsepto is preparing our youth, our future manpower. Hindi po yung mga postgraduate hindi dapat kasama yon dahil hindi yan in the contemplation of our constitutional commissioners. They did not contemplate on the Philippine Military Academy as part of the education sector.
Pero sir, yung pagpapatayo ng mga
Senate
school
President-
buildings, mga
Senate
school
President?
buildings ng DPWH, could that also be part, or could that also be considered as part of the education sector? DPWH, patayo ng school buildings.
Alin po, sorry.
Kung DPWH, sir, nagpapatayo ng school buildings, would that also be considered for the education sector?
I repeat, noong panahon when I was there, ang consider lang na education sector, yun pong DepEd, yung CHED, SUCs, at saka TESDA. Ngayon, yung school building program, dati po sa budget yung DepEd yan eh. DepEd ang gumagawa. Kaya siguro na nakukonsider in the budget of the education sector. Ngayon, hiniwalay, kaya I think DPWH is executing now. Ay, yan po ay open question sa akin which
Okay.
the Supreme Court will determine.
Peter Ral.
SP, nag-react si former SP Tito Soto sa statement ni Congresswoman Kimbo tungkol dun sa post-BICAM report bago dumating sa presidente na tinask daw niya yung technical working group na punuan yung mga kakulangan. Parang may acceptance si Congresswoman Kimbo na meron ng blank spaces na yung TWG daw ang kanyang inutusan para
Ronald.
ayusin. Yeah.
Are you assuming na mayroong blanco? Assuming.
Yes.
Ngunit ang controlling ay yung printed enrolled copy. Yun ang pinipirmahan ng Pangulo at walang kapangyarihan ng Pangulo to look behind the certification of the Senate President and the House Speaker certifying that the legislative process was followed. Nakalagay po yan sa enrolled copy. Doon po sa pinipirmahan ng Senate President and House Speaker. Yan po ay isang certification that is binding on the Supreme Court because of the separation of powers concept. In other words, hindi na pwede sabihin, mali ka, Mr. Senate President. Hindi mo naman sinunod eh. They cannot do that because of the principle of separation of powers, in my view.
SP, if I may just reframe that question of Tito Ronald, hanggang saan pwedeng magstay yung blanco doon sa papel? For example, di ba, from the BICAM, kasi acknowledge naman ni Stella Kimbo, may blanco doon sa BICAM report, and some congressmen saw blanks din sa kanilang copies. Hanggang saan pwede siya from the BICAM going down to each chamber, to the ratification of each chamber? Kasi I suppose after ratification, yun yung enrolled copy eh. So hanggang saan ang pwedeng blanco and still be considered binding?
Material po kung hanggang saan yung blanco. basta kompleto yung enrolled printed copy, blanco man yung bicameral conference committee report or final upon later, that's beside the point. What is important is that the Senate President and the Speaker of the House certified that the process was followed, and nung dumating kay Presidente, ang printed enrolled copy ay kompleto.
Okay.
Senator, may isa pang controversial issue dyan sa nakine-question din, yung sobrang paglaki ng unprogrammed appropriations. Times 3 na nung original dun sa National Expenditure Program. Ano ba yung experience nyo with unprogrammed appropriations nung senador kayo?
That's most unusual. Kaya po ako sang-ayon dun sinasabi ng one critic, I think it's the former Undersecretary of Finance, that is the most corrupt budget. Because ano din po, yung mga congressmen natin, yung House of Representatives, who is the principal proponent of the General Appropriations Act, they found a basis putting in or providing fiscal space by moving the program projects to the unprogrammed portion. Kaya lumaki po ang unprogrammed portion. Sa amin pong binilang ko po yan, for the last 3 budgets, 2020, 25, 2024, 2023. Yung tatlong budgets po na yan, yung unprogrammed portion ay umaabot ng 1 trillion. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? Yung 1 trillion, ilinipat nila sa unprogrammed funds, and they created money para sa mga pork barrel. Hindi ko sinasabi na lahat yan nirelease. Ngunit, they created an opportunity to fund their pork barrel by putting it in the unprogrammed portion of the budget.
Ngayon, ang isa pang tanong, paano kapag nagdesisyon ng Supreme Court na unconstitutional nga yan, anong mangyayari dun sa GAA for this year alone? For this year, anong mangyayari dun?
Ang ibig sabihin, yung budget, yung General Appropriations Act last year is extended to this year. Because yan po yung batas.
Pero may challenge din yun because of the yung impounding naman ng mga savings, quote-unquote, ng mga government-owned and controlled corporations. Meron ding question yon na nasa Supreme Court. Kaya nga natigil yung pag-i-impound yung 3rd and 4th tranches ng PhilHealth para mailipat sana nga doon pa rin sa unprogrammed appropriations. Ano mangyayari yun? Can you reenact yung budget na ganyan? Sabagay, hindi pa siya narurul ng constitutional, Mari-reenact yung 2024.
Nung reenact mo yung budget, nandun yung pundo Kaya hindi problema yun. Hindi problema yung linipat. At yung iba naman yun sinasabi that the transfer of funds is not constitutional. So, pag sinabi ng Korte Suprema, tama yun, mali yung paglipat nyo ng pundo ng PhilHealth. What will happen is that ibabalik sa general fund, yung nilipat, ibabalik para sa PhilHealth, yung nilipat sa general fund. Walang epekto yun on the entire budget. Ang talagang makaka-apekto dyan kung sasabihin ng Korte Suprema na dahilan po kahit for whatever reason, ini-invalidate yung 2025 General Appropriations Act, then babalik tayo sa re-enacted budget.
Sir, SP Drilon, marami ngayong mga pagkilos, marami mga planong pagsampa ng kaso sa Supreme Court. Iba't iba yung mga calls, May calls na impeach all, may calls na revolutionary government, may calls na kung ano-ano. So, from your vantage point, SP, what can you advise these groups? What should they do? Should they just focus on filing a case in the Supreme Court? Dahil ang dami ngayong mga lumalabas na mga proposals.
We follow the rule of law, Ronald. And the remedy is kailangan husgahan ng Korte Suprema. Yan po ang sistema natin. There is no other system. Otherwise, we will become a banana republic.
Sir, balikan ko lang po yung BICAM. There are those who say na it seems like the BICAM has become a little bit too powerful, that it's become the third chamber of Congress, not just the Congress, not just the Senate, but the BICAM as well. Kasi at a certain point, it's already making decisions outside of its original task of reconciling differences between the two chambers. I understand, for example, in the Senate rules, the tasking of the BICAM is only to reconcile conflicts and nothing else. But for example, in this year's budget, they moved huge amounts around that were not even touched on by either chamber in their approved bills. So, what do you think of that po? And well, as well, the BICAM naman talaga is only operating because it was created by the two chambers and nothing else. So, nobody sets the rules.
Just as a matter of legal proposition, the BICAM action is valid because, again, it's a political body. They are mandated to reconcile, and the Supreme Court has already ruled. This does not prevent them from having totally new provisions. That is not that the fact that it was not in either the General Appropriations Bill passed by the House or the Senate does not pass them from incorporating that into the law. But having said that, I would like to put across the message that I think the President has lost control over his budget. For the particularly last 2 years, halos yung House of Congreso na lang, or particularly the House of Representatives, is the one running running the budget, and they have mangled the budget. You can no longer recognize it. Remember that the budget is a result, is an output of our economic managers. Remember that the public spending contributes to about 20 to 25% of our gross domestic product. Kaya po yung economic managers are tasked to craft the President's budget, what we call the National Expenditure Program. Pagdating po ng General Appropriations Bill, pagdating sa House, they mangled everything. The President has lost control over the budget process. And I urge the President, recover that control for the good of the country. Kaya tingnan nyo, natanggal yung chairman dahil sa hindi na-discover ng Malacanang na talagang hindi na maintindihan, hindi na nila makilala yung ginawa ng economic managers na National Expenditure Program. It was mangled in Congress, and it has an effect. This has an effect on our lenders. Because they are looking at our deficit, and the deficit will balloon because of the funding of the projects which are not a part of the regular budget. So talagang masama ito. As I said, I will repeat, regardless of the legalities of what has happened, the most important thing is that the President has lost, that's the most unfortunate thing, the President has lost control over the budget. Kaya ngayon, nakikita mo, they're all scrambling kung saan-saan kinukunan ng mga pundo. Yung PDIC, 107 billion. Yung PhilHealth, I don't know how I can't remember anymore. But this is evidence that, because the budget was bungled, and the funds that were supposed to fund the programs necessary to move our economy, nawala na lahat Nilagay sa pork barrel. And here, really, in my view, it is unfortunate that the President has lost control over his own economic program as pronounced in the General Appropriations Act.
Senator, how might he be able to regain control? Sa tingin niyo, ano ang pwedeng remedyo dyan?
Well, he can regain control by making sure that the releases are proper, because he has control over the release of the funds.
Yes.
to the extent it is still possible to, I do not know to what extent the president can again fund the deleted or unfunded regular programs. That's a question of computing how much it will cost. But the president should try to do that, realign. The power of the president to realign is recognized in the Constitution, and he has that power but to realign the savings from the other items and place it, let's say, in education. He can realign items in the pork barrel budget and put it back to the computerization. He has that power.
There was a lot of mention about pork barrel in the budget, which was of course outlawed in 2013. I suppose by that you're referring to yung ayuda programs that have found their way back into the budget, yung AKAP among other things, and possibly even the AIX. There are many ways of going about trying to make it not look like a pork barrel. I'm wondering lang if it's legally questionable, for example, with the Supreme Court, whether this is a pork barrel or not. If it can be legally challenged.
Okay, let's go back to what the Supreme Court said. Why did the Supreme Court say that the pork barrel was unconstitutional? The basic premise is the legislators participated in the post-enactment.
Yeah, post-enactment.
Ibig sabihin, napirmahan na nagbakas na.
Yes, sir.
Teka,
Sir, may ingay lang ng konti.
Merong maingay.
May ingay ng konti. Okay.
Merong ingay.
Tito Ronald, mukhang maingay yung background mo, Tito Ronald. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Sorry, let's go back.
Yeah, let's go back. Where was I? I already forgot.
The post-enactment.
Yung Supreme Court ruling na post-enactment,
The Supreme Court ruling on the pork barrel was premised on the fact that after the budget is signed into law, the congressmen and the senators, including me, would submit our projects to be funded by a lump sum amount. There's a lump sum amount after the budget is passed. We would submit projects to be sourced, the funding of which is sourced from the lump sum amount. The Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional because you are participating in the process of allocating public funds after the budget is signed and has become law. Hindi po pwede yan. So what did Congress do? What Congress did was for the legislators, individual legislators, to submit their amendments, that's why they are called amendments or initiatives, because it is submitted in the course of the budget debates so that it would appear that the submission of a certain project went through a process of debate and examination. But that is fictional. In truth and in fact, when you submit a project, hindi naman tinitingnan yan kung mayroon mong project study, etc. So that is included in the budget, not as a lump sum, but as individual projects in compliance with the decision of the Supreme Court. Kaya yan po ay hindi na, it responds to the unconstitutional challenge before the Supreme Court on the pork barrel. So may pork barrel pa rin, pero in compliant na doon on the surface, doon sa decision ng Supreme Court. But having said that, alam niyo po ang masama sa pork barrel, yung komisyon eh.
Yes, sir.
Yung tawag naming SOP. Ha? Kung wala namang SOP, pwede mo namang gawin na maayos yung proyekto mo. I can be proud. I can look at anyone and in the eye and say, pumunta ka sa amin. Last week, I inaugurated a 1.5 billion 5-kilometer highway. I admit that was my pork barrel. I put up the convention center in Iloilo. I admit that was my pork barrel. So I widened roads there. I admit this was my pork barrel. But when pork barrel, if execution is done with integrity, nakaka-benepisyo po yan sa taong bayan. Ang masama lang, yung pork barrel na ginagawa lang na line item at binubulsa ang pondo para doon sa proyekto niyo.
Actually, Ed, mas ang nature ng pork barrel, mas siya dun sa unprogrammed appropriations. Kasi yun ang mga AKAP, yung AKAP saka yung AIX, merong specific sila kung paano silang gagamitin Yung unprogrammed ang mas malabo dyan. Yun ang challenge ngayon actually, na it's in violation of the Supreme Court ruling on the pork barrel. So, ang tanong ko naman, Senator, paano kapag na-reenact yung budget, ano yung susunod na step? Do you have to craft a new GAA?
Kung reenacted budget, unang-una, sa halimbawa, na declare as unconstitutional ang 2025 budget, then you consider as reenacted the 2024 General Appropriations. So yun, pero yung mga hindi na-implement na mga project, yan ay pwede pa rin gawin dahil reenacted. Yan pong ibig sabihin.
Pero kailangan mo pa rin gumawa ng budget for this year, di ba? Kasi iba na yung mga allocation dyan
No, kung reenacted, that's the budget for reenacted.
Yes.
2024 General Appropriations Act is the budget for 2025. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng reenacted budget. Pero, of course, the Congress can always again pass a General Appropriations Act.
New one.
Maghabol.
2025.
Okay.
Kasi
Senate President, SP, isang problema kasi dito sa budget controversy ay yung usapin ng transparency. Kahapon, sabi ni Senator Ping Lacson, ay matagal na siya nagpo-propose, 2010 pa, ng mga reforms do sa budget process focusing on transparency. Do you think that is doable? Knowing kung mas maraming nagagawa yung mga congressmen at saka senators pag nakatago yung budget process?
Ronald, yes, it is ideal. We should have transparency. But I tell you, yung BICAM, it's not transparent. But in the process of amending the budget, that is transparent when you introduce amendment to the General Appropriations Bill. Lahat yan bukas So, you submit a proposal to build a farm to market road. That is in open session. So, yes, I agree. The BICAM should be transparent, should be public. Wala akong problema doon. That really it should be done. And it has been, however, the tradition that a small committee is constituted para tingnan po yung proposed budget. Dahil po sa dami na sumasali sa BICAM contingent. Kung minsan makikita mo, 25, 30 congressman ang nandyan, nakaupo sa BICAM committee, dahil po binabantayan na yung kanilang amendment maipasok sa approved budget.
O kanilang insertion.
So kaya, yan po ay naging gawain in order to finish the budget on time. That's the reality, Ronald. Pag pinabayaan mo lahat doon na conferees, abutan ka ng isang taon, hindi mo pa matatapos ang debate.
Actually, sir, I think yung point ni Ping yesterday was more transparency in the BICAM in discussing the budget, among other things, everything else dun sa BICAM, the discussions in the BICAM and the decisions being made in the BICAM, it looking like already a third chamber is not, it's very opaque. Parang ganun
I agree. It should be open to the public, but I'm not saying, what I'm saying is, that is not necessarily the solution. Because I tell you, there are many ways of skinning a cat. Yeah. So yes, I am in favor of transparency. I am in favor of opening the BICAM to public scrutiny. But will it solve the problem? I am not prepared to say yes.
Ami,
Senator, sabi ni Senator Amy Marcos, this is a very, very bad budget. Saka si Shelo Magno, the former Finance Undersecretary, sabi niya, eto daw budget na to, yung pinaka-corrupt na yatang nakita niyang budget. Do you agree with that assessment?
I agree. Because it went overboard. Yun pong, can you imagine, ililipat mo yung isang programa na pinag-usapan sa kabinete na nirekomenda ng ating economic managers na kailangan para lumago ang ating ekonomiya. Ilagay mo sa unprogrammed portion at saksakan mo ng farm to market road. Talaga naman po hindi maganda. This budget was mangled. It could no longer be recognized by the economic managers. I am not saying that the economic managers are perfect, but what I'm saying is, siguro naman hindi lahat doon masama. Ngunit na nangyari, the unprogrammed funds became so huge. I repeat, for the last 3 years of the budget, ang unprogrammed activities ay lumaki up to about 1 trillion pesos. And that therefore nagkaroon ng puwang doon sa mga collections at sa mga para mapunduhan yung mga pork barrel, yung mga favorite projects. Hindi ko ibig sabihin na lahat po napunduhan yan. What I'm saying is it created an opportunity to fund projects which are not essential to the expansion of our economy.
Sir, may tatanong pa ako sana sa inyo. If you don't mind, I'll just bring up the Constitution. Still with regard to the budget. Kasi I was going to portions of the Constitution last night. I found an article in the section that was quite interesting. But mind you, I'm not a lawyer. I am not learned, as Ronald would say. So help me through this lang. Article 6, Section 26, number 2. No bill passed by either house shall become a law unless it has passed 3 readings. Given po yun, first, second, third reading. Further down in that same section, upon the last reading of a bill, no amendment thereto shall be allowed. I'm wondering lang if, does this, kasi on the surface, it almost seems like it makes the BICAM unconstitutional if it's amending after the last reading.
That provision refers to the version of the bill before the BICAM, the bill that is passed by either house. The bill passed by the Senate, the bill passed by the House. On third reading, it can no longer be amended. But kaya po nagkakaroon ng Bicameral Conference Committee to reconcile the differences. Kasi that's the nature in a bicameral Congress, magkaiba yung version ng magkabilang kapulungan. Kaya kailangan ng BICAM committee. Yun pong binasa ninyo is a provision applicable to the individual chambers for the bills that are considered there. In other words, pag sa third reading, printed copy, distributed 3 days before the vote, in printed copies, and hindi mo na ma-amend yan. But that pertains to the bills as they are passed in either chamber, but not in the BICAM, because the BICAM, they reconcile the differences, and then you submit the BICAM report to Congress, which will ratify it by a majority vote.
Yes, sir. Pero sir, the BICAM kasi is not in the Constitution din eh. In fact, that was one of the articles that the CONCON of Duterte wanted to insert in a new Constitution, recognizing the BICAM and its role and so on down the line. And lang, again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just saying na parang
Yes.
it does sound, at least on the surface, parang naging unconstitutional bigla yung BICAM.
I'll ask you, kung hindi pwedeng BICAM, how do you reconcile the disagreeing provisions between the two chambers?
I get the point.
Because
Yes,
after
sir.
the BICAM comes up with the reconciled version, the BICAM report is submitted to the chambers for ratification. In other words, the changes made in the BICAM must be ratified by its chamber. Kaya po gumagawa ng certification ang Pangulo ng Senado, the Speaker of the House, that the bill as presented to the President went through the process required by the Constitution. Kaya po, kung pwede po walang BICAM kung tayo po ay unicameral. Pwede po BICAM kung walang pagkaiba nung dalawang ng mga version. In fact, in their cases, that we just adapt each other's
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
version. Doon wala nang BICAM yun. Kasi there might be differences and then you amend your version in order to conform to the other version. Or sometimes, like changes in name. Hindi na kailangan ng BICAM nun. Changes in the name of the road. So, yan po, ina-adapt na lang ng other chamber yung bill na pinasa doon sa kabilang kapulungan.
Pero, sir,
Pero Senator, wala bang rule na moderating yung changes na pwedeng gawin ng two chambers sa National Expenditure Program? Kasi isang taon na pinaghirapan yung National Expenditure Program na yan ng mga ng mga agencies and the DBM. Tapos pagdating doon, bigla-bigla magkakawatak-watak. Wala man lang bang mga rules para hindi sobra-sobra naman yung pagbabago?
I agree with you. Pero there is no rule that can moderate greed.
Oxymoron daw yan, sir. Talaga daw greed yung hindi moderate.
You cannot outlaw greed.
Pero SP, di ba, dapat hindi lumalampas sa NEP yung mga proposals ng
Oo nga
House?
Di ba?
Di ba may legal weakness yun na imamanggal mo at dadagdagan mo na husto yung
Triple.
NEP? Oo.
Ititrible yung appropriation.
Di ba kung talaga yun? Hindi legal?
Alin, Ronald?
Yung pagmanggal ng NEP, yung pagdagdag ng kung ano-ano, di ba that is by itself illegal?
Wala. Under our system, the agency that appropriates funds is Congress, subject to the veto power of the President. But the power to appropriate funds is the principal function of Congress. You cannot use public funds without the authority of Congress through the appropriations bill.
But what's
Pero
the
hindi
purpose
siya
of the
pwedeng
NEP
umano, no?
kung babaguhin din pala nila? What's the
Again,
purpose of the
again.
NEP? Kung babaguhin din nila, imamanggal din pala nila.
Kung alin?
What's the purpose of the NEP kung pwede naman palang baguhin ang husto ng Congress, yung NEP?
Dahil lang sa ang Congress has the mandate of the people. Elected po yan eh. And the assumption is that when they act in a certain manner, that's what the people they represent would want. Yan po ang principle. That's the theoretical principle. The economic managers do not have the mandate. They are appointed by the president. And therefore, the mandate is from the president, not from the people. Congress claim and in our system has the mandate of the people to act in behalf of the people.
Eh, yung presidente is elected and the cabinet, the economic managers are his alter ego. So,
It is only the president who can move funds, transfer savings from one department to the other because he has the mandate, but not the members of the cabinet.
okay.
so basta hindi lumagpas dun sa total proposal na funding sa NEP, pwedeng galawin ng Congress. Pwede nilang itaas yung individual appropriation but not above the total ng NEP.
That's correct. The limitation is that yung Congress may not exceed the budget proposed by the President. But they can rearrange the furniture, so-called. And in the total, the unprogrammed funds are not included. In the total,
Hindi included.
the unprogrammed funds are not included. Why? Because the unprogrammed funds
Walang pondo.
cannot be executed except if there are additional funds coming in, like a new tax or excess collection loan.
Okay. Sir.
Ayun na nga.
Oh, sir, I'm afraid...
Ang huli, SP, yung mga savings no previous years, no? Paano, yan yung isang kine-question na nag-fill in the blanks post-BICAM. Paano ginagawa yan? Yung mga savings na, may 10 billion na savings ang DA, no? Yan yung sinasabi nila na naipapasok dun sa mga blanks, no? Yung mga savings na yan. Nangyayari ba yan?
Hindi yan. Ang savings, ang savings are precisely the source of the realignments, but not the source of the unprogrammed projects, because the authority to spend is on a yearly basis, and therefore, if the authority is in the 2024 budget, you cannot use it for 2025, but you can realign that for the items which are insufficient in 2024.
Okay. We'd like to say thank you to former Senate President Franklin Drilon for a very fascinating discussion this afternoon. Sir, thank you for giving us your insights.
Salamat,
Thank you,
SP.
Senator.
Just one thing.
Yes,
Alam mo, 24 na taon ako sa Senado, 24 na taon ako tumingin ng national budget. Ito po ang pinakakurap. Talagang minanggol nila yung budget, kaya hindi na nakilala ng executive branch kung ano ang itsura nitong budget. That's bad. And I hope they don't do it again.